In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the polymers of life, lipids. So the basic definition of a lipid is a substance that does not dissolve in water. When I say that, you might immediately think of oil. If you put oil into water, like you see in the picture here, they do not mix. They will always stay separated. And that's because oil is an example of a lipid. Some functions of lipids in the human body. The first is that it's the second source of energy. Once your body runs out of carbohydrates to use for energy, it is going to turn to your lipids. That's the theory behind the keto diet. The keto diet, in theory, is supposed to help your body run on fat as your first source of energy instead of carbohydrates. It's a very complex diet that you need to do correctly in order to be healthy about it, but that is the theory of it. The second function of lipids is that they cushion your organs and they insulate your body. There's fat all over your organs inside of your abdomen. Those are used to cushion them so that if someone were to, punch you in the gut or you were to get into a car accident, that your organs wouldn't immediately be punctured and run the risk of you dying. Also, it helps to insulate you, helps to keep you warm. Without a ton of fat, it's very easy to get too cold, especially during Wisconsin winters, and you run the risk of, again, possibly dying. So lipids actually are really important. They're also found around your joints to help kind of protect them. So you actually have a fat pad located in your knee that is used to support your patella and to protect your knee joint. The last function is chemical signals. You have things called the lovely hormones coursing through your veins. Those are chemical signals that your brain uses to communicate with your body. So they are really, really important, but those are also a type of lipid. The monomer of a lipid is called a hydrocarbon. A hydrocarbon is made up of two elements. It's made up of hydrogens and it's made up of carbons. So on the screen, you see two different types of lipids. One of them has rings. So these are carbon rings with hydrogens attached. That's a form of a hydrocarbon. And on the other one, you see that there are kind of strings of carbons and hydrogens. Okay. These are also forms of hydrocarbons, just a bunch of carbons with hydrogens attached. That's the monomer. Some examples of lipids. The biggest one that people think of are fats. The scientific term for fats is triglycerides. And there's two types of fats. We have saturated fats. These are fats that are solid at room temperature, and they have the maximum amount of hydrogens on the hydrocarbons. I'm going to explain this more in a second. The second type of fat is unsaturated fat, which is liquid at room temperature. Because it has less than the maximum hydrogens on its hydrocarbons, causing the hydrocarbons to kink. Now, on the screen here, I have pictures of saturated fats and unsaturated fats. So saturated fats, they have the maximum amount of hydrogens attached to the carbons. They have very straight hydrocarbons, like you see in this picture, because they are maxed out on hydrogens. So since these are called fatty acid chains, because the fatty acid chains are straight, they can pack really close together. And because they pack really close together, that is why that they are solid at room temperature. So you can kind of think of trying to stack really flat paper. It stacks really nicely and the paper is really close together, okay? That's like saturated fats. The other type, unsaturated fats, do not have the maximum amount of hydrogens, and therefore they have these kinks in the fatty acid chain. That is kind of like if you were to take a bunch of crumpled up paper and try to stack it really nicely, it doesn't stack nicely because of the crumples. Unsaturated fats, because of the kinks in their chain, cannot stack close together. And because they can't stack close together, that is why unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature. Some examples of saturated fats that you might know of: butter, lard, if you've ever heard of ghee, those are all saturated fats. Unsaturated fats are your oils. Those are liquid at room temperature. Another example of lipids, they're called steroids. Steroids is a very general term for those chemical signals that are floating through your body. So those are your hormones, and also cholesterol is classified as a steroid. So the steroids that you are thinking of that like bodybuilders and athletes inject to make themselves large, it's just a bunch of testosterone. So the more testosterone you have, the more muscle that you can build. That's why when males go to the weight room, they tend to get larger, whereas when females go to the weight room, they don't get larger. I can lift all I want. I'm never going to look like a male athlete because I don't have the testosterone to build that muscle. So when you take steroids, you are injecting your body with testosterone to build that muscle. However, that extra hormone or the extra hormones that are in your body are very dangerous. Hormones are not something that you want to mess with. And as you can see on the screen, steroids are the type of hydrocarbon that comes in the ring form. Okay, cholesterol is similar to that. It floats around your body. The good kind gets rid of fat within your blood and deposits it to the liver where it can be used for energy. The bad type of cholesterol is going to take the fat in your blood and deposit it in your arteries, which can then cause heart attacks. On the screen, you can see that cholesterol is also one of those ringed hydrocarbon lipids. And that's it for lipids.